Iran's supreme leader cannot continue to exist, Israel defense minister says. Imagine if someone said Israel's leader could not continue to exist. I'm sure the reactions would be a little bit different.
Israel's defense minister said that Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, cannot be allowed to continue to exist. This after Iran took a hospital inside Israel.
How many Palestinian hospitals has Israel destroyed now? But no, Iran partially destroys one hospital. Sorry, you can't exist anymore. Imagine being this far up your own ass. All humans have inherent value. I cannot state this enough. There is no such thing as a high value or low value person. I cannot state this enough. We are all people and we all have value. If you don't believe that we are all God's children, then I mean, God help you, my child. You should probably get help.
Calling for essentially regime change here. What significance do you read into that statement, and how would that change the type of military operation we're seeing?
Well, it's an extraordinarily significant statement. That means that the Israelis are subscribing to the policy of regime change. Well, it would just add on to the mission. That is classic mission creep.
Regime changes should be up to the populace of whatever country. If a nation's people do not like their leadership and they want to form a revolution and they want to form insurgencies to remove that government, that's fine. But countries like especially America has gotten rid of so many sometimes democratically elected governments. It's insane. It's actually insane. Just deposing governments left, right, and center, including two Australian prime ministers. America has been instrumental in ousting two Australian prime ministers, both Labor as well. So think about that. They are not our friends. As Frenzal Ron would say, you are not my friend. You are not my friend. Never, ever, ever again. Am I showing my age? Probably. Do I care? No.
It goes back to the Colin Powell comment, the old comment about if you break it, you buy it. We saw that in Iraq. We saw that in Afghanistan.
But now so many of those Iranian proxies are weakened. So when you talk about a possibility of a regional conflict, does that still exist in the same way?
Well, I put it in a different way of looking at this.
They're talking about bringing in the Shah's son from exile. Well, look, if there is an assassination on the Ayatollah, it's up to the Iranian people who they would like to succeed. If they want a change of governance, which I would probably say they probably would want a regime change, I don't know. We should support them in having a democratic, perhaps, process in determining what they would like to do next as a country. No involvement from the CIA, please. I would like Iran to determine Iran's future. I would like for the people of Iran to determine what Iran does next. America needs to stay the fuck out of everything. There should be an independent body that should facilitate who would be the next leader. But then again, that's assuming that Israel takes the steps of assassinating their leader, which I think they should fucking keep their hands to themselves. Fucking little grubby little hands.
He said Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, cannot be allowed to continue to exist.
And where do you get to make that determination? I think George Bush shouldn't have. I think both of the Bushes probably shouldn't have been able to continue to exist. I think Obama was Bush on steroids. I think Biden was a fuckwit. I think all of the American administrations since I've been alive shouldn't have been continued to exist. But you know what? I don't go around freaking ousting democratically elected leaders. It's nobody's place to fucking do that. Everybody needs to keep their hands to themselves and leave everybody alone.
What Israelis are talking about is regime collapse. And nobody actually knows exactly what would happen on the other side of that, nor do we have any confidence that the current, thug mafia government in Tehran wouldn't be replaced by just another set of goons committed to the nuclear program, to exporting terrorism, to all the ways in which Iran is a real destabilizer.
Well, how many governments worldwide has America ousted? Has America deposed just to have someone far, 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 far worse to, the populace of that country? Far, far more cruel, far less cooperative on a foreign policy scale. You think America would learn from its mistakes, but it doesn't. They are literally the definition of insanity, doing the same stupid thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's sometimes, it really is better the devil that you know. Yeah, because they went from a rumor to asset deployment in 4 questions, insane escalation. Yeah, this situation has definitely escalated very, very quickly. Look, this was always the plan. Never forget, Bibi Netanyahu, he struck first. He threw the bombs first. Iran responded in kind. This is what happens. Now they're talking about taking out a leader of a sovereign nation. Look, Iran's a theocracy, but so is Israel. Why is one okay, but the other not? Bibi Netanyahu, some people say that he's clinging to power through nefarious means. Some people are saying he's been in power for too long and had one too many terms. So why is one okay and one's not? Why is an Islamic theocracy bad but a Jewish one good? Do I reckon the media campaign is planned out? Yes I do. The media is the propaganda arm of the United States government. Our own media is the propaganda arm of the US government. It's 100% all coordinated. These things aren't coincidences. They're 100% prefabricated, pre-organized, and they're rolling out, right on time. Straight from the Bernays playbook, the Edward Bernays playbook.
We can't take our eye off of what's happening in the Indo-Pacific. And with these different carriers moving into the region, you are stressing the system and you are pulling.
I thought it was hollandaise that went on your eggs. Is it Bernays? I thought it was hollandaise. I'm dumb though. And also, I grew up way too poor to eat at cafes. But I thought that was hollandaise sauce that went on your eggs. Edward Bernays is the nephew of Freud, and he came up with modern PR, which is basically just propaganda. Bernays is hollandaise with vinegar and herbs. Wait, am I saying the wrong name? Let me check. Imagine if I am that dumb. That would be embarrassing. Edward Louis Bernays was an American pioneer in the field of public relations and propaganda, referred to in his obituary as the father of public relations. You made me question my sanity there for a second. Wow. Relatives. Sigmund Freud uncle. There you go. See, guys, it's all connected. We are through the looking glass. Oh, you can't see that. Hang on. All right. So we have Edward Louis Bernays, was born on the 22nd of November, 1891, was an American pioneer in the field of public relations and propaganda, referred to in his obituary as the father of public relations. While credited with advancing the profession of public relations, his techniques have been criticized for manipulating public opinion, often in ways that undermine individual autonomy and democratic values. His best-known campaigns include a 1929 effort to promote female smoking by branding cigarettes as feminist torches of freedom, and his work for the United Fruit Company in the 1950s connected with the CIA orchestrated overthrow of the democratically elected Guatemalan government in 1954. Critics argue that his involvement in Guatemala facilitated US imperialism and contributed to decades of civil unrest and repression, raising ethical concerns about his role in undermining democratic governance. He worked for dozens of major American corporations, including Procter & Gamble and General Electric, and for government agencies, politicians, and non-profit organizations. His uncle was psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud. I got too excited with that sentence. You're vaping your lychee pride jewel right now. That's an embarrassing sentence, Hyperbovian. I hope you get help. I hope you get the help that you need. Of his many books, Crystallizing Public Opinion and Propaganda gained special attention as early efforts to define and theorize the field of public relations, citing works of writers such as Gustav Le Bon, Wilfred Trotter, Walter Lippmann, and Sigmund Freud, his own double uncle. How is someone your double uncle? Does that mean there's inbreeding in the family? What's a double uncle? There's a link. What's a double uncle? A man who is one's uncle in two different ways. Example, a brother of one parent and a brother-in-law of the other. What does that mean? Does that mean inbreeding? I'm going to go with yes, because I want there to be inbreeding in the Freud family. I don't understand what double uncle means. What does double uncle mean? Where's the word double uncle? He described the masses as irrational and subject to herd instinct, and outlined how skilled practitioners could use crowd psychology and psychoanalysis to control them in desired ways. Bernays later synthesized many of these ideas in his post-war book, Public Relations, which outlines the science of managing information released to the public by an organization in a manner most advantageous to the organization. Bernays was named one of the 100 most influential Americans of the 20th century by Life. Despite this recognition, his work has been linked to the rise of modern propaganda techniques that some argue have eroded democratic engagement and suppressed dissent. Anyway, his Sigmund Freud's nephew clearly comes from a fucked up family. Let me read what you wrote. Edward Bernays and Martha Bernays were related through Sigmund Freud. Edward Bernays' mother, Anna, was Freud's sister, and his father, Eli, was the brother of Freud's wife, Martha Bernays. This makes Edward Bernays both Freud's nephew and the nephew of Martha Bernays, Freud's wife. I'm too drunk to follow that, but I'm just going to go with inbreeding because it sounds really complicated. Off to Tasmania with you all. Parallel lineage. That's such a diplomatic way to say inbred. They have parallel lineage, guys. They're not inbred. I'm not inbred, guys. I just have parallel lineage. Darwin did that with his family too, right? He was trying to make his family thoroughbred. So he inbred his family. Charles Darwin married his first cousin, Emma Wedgwood. This led to discussions about inbreeding and its potential effects on their offspring. While Darwin himself was interested in the topic of heredity, he did not actively promote eugenics, a concept his cousin Francis Galton later developed. Galton believed that desirable human qualities were hereditary and could be improved through selective breeding, a notion Darwin disagreed with. Okay, so it was his cousin that was pushing it. Darwin was aware of the potential effects of inbreeding, especially within his own family, and several of his children experienced health issues and early deaths. Darwin's views on heredity. I kept on saying hereditary. It's heredity. Dyslexia makes you sexier, guys. Darwin's cousin, Francis Galton, developed the concept of eugenics, which aimed to improve the human race through selective breeding. Galton believed that desirable traits were hereditary and could be enhanced by encouraging reproduction among individuals possessing those traits. While Darwin acknowledged the potential role of heredity, he did not actively support eugenics. He disagreed with Galton's elaboration of the theory, particularly the idea of applying it to humans in the way Galton proposed. Yeah, but Charles Darwin's kids were the champions of eugenics, weren't they? Yeah, Darwin's son Leonard replaced his cousin Galton as the chairman of the National Eugenics Society in 1911. So eugenics is the Darwin family business, which is absolutely disgusting. Going down those roads as a society is really scary, especially for me because I do have a profoundly disabled sibling. And yeah, it's really, really scary, the amount of people that were trying to get my mother and father to have her sterilized as a young child because, you know, she's disabled. Just like, you know, totally taking away her autonomy as a person. It's really scary.
So are you going to target the Supreme Leader?
Look, we're doing what we need to do. I'm not going to get into the details.
That's yes. I think that's a yes, guys. I think that is a yes. I don't think this man should be the leader of Israel. I'm not advocating for someone to assassinate him, though. I just think he's a fuckwit, you know?
U.S. officials tell us that the president flatly rejected a plan, an opportunity that the Israelis had to take out the Supreme Leader. Do you understand his concern? My understanding is his concern is that this would escalate the conflict beyond where it is already.
It's not going to escalate the conflict. It's going to end the conflict.
Yeah, all right, mate. Special, special, special boy. Well, this is what God loves you, mate, because no one else does. What kind of work did I do as a social worker? I have worked in a lot of different types of social work. So I've worked in homelessness, especially for women experiencing domestic violence, but just also in general homelessness. I've worked in child protection. I have worked in sexual assault. I have worked in... What else have I worked in? Yeah, I've worked in domestic violence, sexual assault, child protection. I've worked in legal social work as well. Yeah, I've kind of done the gamut, I would say. Yeah, I've done the gamut. Am I in uni? No, I've finished university in Naruto. I have finished university. Yeah, that is how I got into law, actually. I just found legal concepts really easy to understand and pick up, and I just found myself doing more legal reading in my spare time, so I decided to do a postgraduate qualification in law. Sorry, I was just checking on my cat. Guys, I'm gonna have to go and feed my cat. I was only going to stream for another 20 minutes anyway, so seeing as though my cat is crying, I'm going to tend to her. But thank you so much for hanging out, guys. It's been good, it's been fun, it's been great. I'll be back tomorrow. And, see you next time. Bye.